China and the United States have agreed to dramatically lower tariffs on each other's goods. The announcement came after 2 days of talks in Geneva between high-level officials from China and the U.S. This was U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announcing the deal.
We have reached an agreement on a 90-day pause and substantially move down the tariff levels. Both sides on the reciprocal tariffs will move their tariffs down 115%.
After the announcement, Asian and European markets rallied, as have U.S. futures. Louise Watt has been following this and joins us now from our newsroom in Taipei. Louise, does this mean that the trade war is off?
Well, Joyce, as you say, stocks have rallied, so there's certainly hope that a full-scale trade war has been averted. Let's take a look first at what Beijing and Washington have agreed. The US will slash its tariffs on Chinese goods from 145% to 30%, and Chinese tariffs on US goods will fall from 125% to 10%. And they will do this by Wednesday for 90 days. So a cooling off period for the world's biggest two economies. Now, this surprise breakthrough came after critical talks over the weekend in Geneva, the first face-to-face meetings between high-level US and Chinese economic officials since President Trump came back to power and put on tariffs on many countries, but those particularly hefty tariffs on China, leading China to retaliate with its own tariffs. But it's clear that neither side wants a damaging trade war. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he said at a press conference that they had very robust discussions and both sides showed great respect. So they still have a lot to discuss. There's still a long way to go to get their trade relationship back on track. But over the weekend and today, yes, clear progress has been made.
Right, so high-level officials from both sides have now sat down and talked. What does this agreement mean for U.S.-China relations going forward?
Well, relations between China and the U.S. have been strained, to say the least, since President Trump came back to power. That's despite Trump saying that he got on famously with Xi Jinping and that he wants Chinese investment in the United States. But China and the US have agreed to establish a mechanism to continue discussions about economic and trade relations. And Scott Bessent, the US Trade Secretary, he struck an interesting note. He told reporters at the press conference that, yes, Xi and Trump do get on very well. And he suggested that had this mechanism already been in place, they could have avoided some of the trade war escalations that we've seen over the past month. Now, China's response said it's committed to the stable development of relations between Beijing and Washington, but that it draws the line at pressure and threats. So now the two sides continue talking. Can they resolve their differences? Whether they can or not has implications not just for their economies, but for the global economy.
Thanks, Louise, for that update. That was Louise Watt in our Taipei newsroom.